Hello, my name's Sophie Rolls. Welcome to my Creativity and Me presentation. We'll start with part A. Setting up my LinkedIn was actually quite a fun task. I'd been putting it off for a while, but once I got into it, I really enjoyed the process of designing my profile, selecting what I wanted to include, and thinking about how I was going to present and, promote myself. There's something quite creative about thinking back on your experiences and skills and seeing how far you've come, and also putting all of that information into a format that represents who you are professionally. As you can see, I still have quite a long way to go in terms of building out fully, but it did give me a push in the right direction. Now moving on to task 2, which was the movie poster and the plot that you can see here. Born in Melbourne, a city that never stops moving, Sophie always knew she was destined for something, but life had a detour planned, south. Further south than most people ever go, Tasmania. To the rest of the world, Tasmania is the edge, the end of the map, but for Sophie, it became the beginning. Away from the pace of the mainland, the noise and the pressure, she found stillness. And in that stillness, she found herself, who she was, what she wanted, and where she was going in life. When she finally pointed herself back north, to Melbourne, to university and to a career she was building with intention, Sophie wasn't running towards something out of desperation. She was returning with direction, because sometimes you must go to the bottom of the earth to figure out which way is up. I also really enjoyed brainstorming the ideas for this poster and the plot line. The photo I chose was because I wanted to show someone floating completely at ease and surrounded by water. It felt right because obviously Tasmania is an island and water is everywhere there. It's also been such a prevalent element in my life growing up as well. Rowing, swimming, boating, water was basically all around. Coming up with the name for the movie as well was relatively easy compared to deciding what story to tell. 43 degrees south essentially is the latitude of Tasmania. I've lived quite a lot in the last 21 years, and finding what I was going to focus on was probably the most difficult part of this task. I travel a lot to see family and friends and for work in the event industry, but moving was something entirely different, and that happened last year. So I left Melbourne as a teenager, moved to Tasmania, which I'd never been to before, and then made the choice last year to come back and live independently and support myself and build a life for myself here. That's probably what's shaped me the most, hence why I wanted to focus on it. Now on to part B. Kaufman and Beghetto argue that creativity isn't one single thing. It exists on a spectrum with 4 distinct levels. Essentially, not everyone needs to be a genius to be creative. It can show up in quiet personal moments that happen day to day, or it can occur with world-changing breakthroughs and leaders in our world. Now, those 4 distinct levels that I mentioned are Mini C, which refers to personal discovery, Little C, everyday creativity, Pro C, which is professional creativity, and lastly, Big C, legendary creativity. My most personal form of creativity is my Mini C. So how I have employed that is by learning how I work best. So I've discovered I'm most productive in the evenings and developed my own approach to note-taking during lectures. My Little C is practical and lives in the kitchen. So I challenge myself each week to only buy meat and groceries that are on sale. At first glance, it kind of sounds like budgeting, but it's actually forced creativity because whatever's in my fridge essentially becomes a puzzle. And I've made meals that I would never have tried otherwise that have now ended up being a staple in my rotation. So it's expanded my cooking skills and trained me to think more resourcefully. My professional C comes through my office and administration role. I've noticed that managing customer inquiries through email was inefficient and easy to lose track of. So I introduced a new system for organising and categorising those incoming requests, which streamlined the process and reducing response times and making the whole workflow a lot clearer for everyone. In terms of Big C, it's the rarest form and inspires generations. A lot of people would look to Steve Jobs, Einstein, Frida Kahlo, all of those people who redefined their sectors and absolutely excelled. I actually look closer to home. I look at my grandfather and my mother who set up their own businesses and actually paved the way for themselves, and now I'm following in their footsteps as well. The concept of pink time is self-directed learning. The idea that when people are free to pursue something they're genuinely curious and interested in, motivation and creativity will flourish because of that. And so for my pink time, I chose to learn German. My sister's fiance is Swiss German, and now I have a niece and a goddaughter that they want surrounded by that culture. So I wanted to help out and assist with her language development early on. I'm also planning on spending some time in Switzerland with them later this year. So I wanted to be able to engage in that culture and understand. Beyond that, bilingual people show greater grey matter density and stronger attention and task switching capabilities. So through my research, I came across a study conducted by Cambridge University that suggests that speaking multiple languages slows brain aging and delays diseases like Alzheimer's and dementias. When reflecting on my outcomes for the 2 quizzes that we did as a self-assessment, it was quite intriguing. My creative type is the gardener, someone who nurtures potential, builds community, and puts people at the heart of everything. When I read that description, I recognized myself immediately. My highest thinking style was the orator, logical thinking through words, which makes sense because branding and advertising is all about crafting clear and compelling messages, and I enjoy that a lot. One thing that stuck with me from the gardener description was the reminder to cultivate myself too. I tend to pour a lot into others first. As I grow my career, I want to make sure that I'm also investing in my own development, because when I fill my own cup, I show up better for everyone else.